Hi, everyone, and welcome to Rebel Soul Stories. I am your host, Shannon McAllister, and I am on a mission to help mamas break their generational pain cycles and really come from a place of parenting that is both connection and conscious. And so today I'm so excited. I actually have a really close vendor friend that back in my event planning days, we used to work on styled shoots together. She was pretty much my go-to calligrapher. And even when I was working in startup land, I'd have her come and work some of my events and do live calligraphy. So I'm so excited to have Miss Carole on, and I will kick it over to you to introduce yourself.
Hey guys, my name is Carole, and like Shannon just mentioned, I am a calligrapher and I do provide calligraphy services for kind of a variety of different areas, including live lettering. I do weddings. I also create products to sell at markets and pop-ups and things like that. And so, yeah, that's kind of my creative side of me. And then I also work at a startup full time in the Silicon Valley, and I am currently in the HR side of things there.
I love it. And I feel like literally everyone in startup land has a side hustle. So this is
Yeah.
like so common for Silicon Valley and the Bay Area
Yep.
in general. Like I feel like everyone has like 3 jobs or passion projects going
Yeah.
on at any given
Totally.
Awesome. So can you set the stage for us? What were you doing? How were you feeling? What kind of lifestyle were you living before you really went on your soul journey?
I would say, to be honest, I nothing really kind of stood out in that life, like pre figuring out like what my passions were, what my callings were in life. It was very honestly, life for the most part was very just repetitive. I was kind of going through the motions of what I thought I should be doing or what society thought I should be doing. Graduating from college, just kind of went straight into work. Always like just felt like I had to find a job regardless of if I was passionate about it or not. And so, yeah, that kind of just led me to very feeling not very satisfied, obviously, with what I was doing, with where I was in life. And again, nothing kind of like no dramatic events or nothing kind of crazy happened during that time, but I just knew that it was time to find there has to be more to life than just kind of going through the motions of what people think I should be doing.
I totally agree because I feel like that happens to so many people in general is you kind of just go through the motions and you're kind of like doing all the things that you think you should be doing, and then you kind of get to this point of like, this doesn't feel good for me. This, like, yeah, to your point, like there has to be more. So
Yeah.
when you had that feeling, what kick started you to really like start finding your passions and make that shift?
Yeah, I think for me, a big part of it had to do with coming back to my faith and figuring out what my calling and my purpose, I guess, in life is. And I know that's a very kind of vague general question for a lot of people. And I myself didn't really know where to start, but it just, kind of like these little events that happened were just meeting people that felt like safe, people that you can feel safe around, that you can explore these kinds of questions with, that aren't that will support kind of what you want to do outside of the societal norm. And so just coming back to my faith and rediscovering what I guess meaning I wanted my life to hold, like what I wanted to do, what impact I wanted to have on the people around me, and in the things I did. And so for me, I basically I just quit my job and moved away from the Bay Area, which is kind of a big deal. And I moved to this like really small town in Redding, California, and I was there for 3 years, and kind of just got away from everything that I had grown up knowing. I had, like I had grown up in the Bay Area all my life and was kind of just used to this one way of life, or like this one kind of path, I guess.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I kind of just had to get away from here. And 3 years that I spent away from the Bay Area definitely helped kind of slow me down for one, and then kind of start to reimagine, rethink, reprioritize what I wanted in my life.
So powerful, because I feel like that is kind of the crossroad, right? You start to get to a point where you're like, there's something bigger than me. I know there's something bigger than me. And kind of coming back to your faith, whatever spirituality means to you. So
Yeah.
kind of finding that. And then slowing down. I feel like that's one of the hugest parts of the soul journey, is really slowing down and tuning in, because I think with society, we are so quick to like work and do and just constantly be in motion that we don't even know what we want or desire, or
Yeah.
how we want our life to truly be. And so I love that you took some time to like get away, change perspective, and really tune in to like, what do I want to create and who do I want to be in this world? That's so powerful.
Yeah, definitely.
So take us on your journey. So after Reading, you obviously moved back to the Bay Area, and
Yeah.
so take us kind of on that journey from there.
Yeah, so I think it was during my time in Reading that I kind of discovered my love for calligraphy, and then pursued that a little more. I've always been a creative. I just never had like one thing that I had stuck to my whole life. And so when I found calligraphy, it was like, this is my little creative thing. It makes me happy. It allows me to express myself in a creative way. And then I started to make a like little business out of it, and just kind of started selling things to friends and on Etsy and things like that. And I didn't really seriously consider turning that into a real business, I would say, until I moved back, I think. When I came back to the Bay Area, I was again kind of at a crossroads of like, okay, so I was away for all this time. Now I'm back. It's so easy to kind of fall back into old patterns if you're not careful. If you kind of just, again, you're just going with the flow, kind of what everyone around you is doing, because that's all you see. And so it took me a while to kind of, I guess, find my footing in a sense, and to figure out, okay, now that I'm back, what do I do now? Where do I belong? And so I started to more seriously pursue calligraphy as a business, but I knew that I actually knew that I didn't want it to be my full-time business, at least not in this season. And so, which is, it's kind of different, because a lot of, aspiring side business owners kind of, they want to eventually turn this into their full-time business. And it might be an option for me later down the road, but I think for now, I actually still love the stability of just having a full-time job. And it's what works for me in this season. And so I was lucky enough to find the job that I'm currently working at, and I'm doing something that I actually kind of enjoy in the HR world. It kind of helps me use my kind of administrative side of my brain a little more, so I get an equal balance. And I'm running my calligraphy business on the side, and for now the balance just works out really well for me. And yeah, I'm really happy doing that, and I'm actually slowly also starting to think about pivoting into some other things as well.
Yes, I'm so excited for your new things, and we'll get to that in a couple of questions. But what has been one of your most soul-crushing moments kind of on this journey, or just on your journey in general? And how did you turn that into a gem of wisdom?
I would say it's like soul crushing it can sound so extreme. And I know, like, I would say I don't really have any kind of one major incident, I guess, or situation that happened. But I think for me it was I think the overall feeling of kind of just being so feeling so low and depressed over, again, it wasn't just one event that had happened, but just kind of that at that point, that crossroads in my life where I was like, this life isn't working for me. I'm not happy. I'm depressed. I'm not passionate about what I'm doing. Like, I'm not waking up thinking about like, I'm not waking up with the creative buzz or like the energy that I want, and just everything like that. And so I would say, yeah, definitely kind of just feeling that low, depressed moment in my life where you're kind of just like, what am I doing? I'm lost. Um, and it's turning that into obviously getting out of that funk, like where I am now. It's probably nothing no one said before, but like it's really just, I think, tuning into yourself, like you said, slowing down. It's so, again, not kind of cliche, not a super like, I'm not the only one that's ever said it, but really just tuning into kind of yourself, your instincts, really exploring your own heart and your mind, instead of turning it to other, again, society or what other people around you are doing. Being true to yourself, I would say, is probably the best thing that you can do. And it seems really hard, especially when what you think and what you want is so different, or can be thought of as different. And so, but yeah, definitely staying true to yourself is going to be kind of your, it's what makes you you. And I would say definitely pursue that at all costs.
So powerful. And I think you just hit such a strong chord, because it is said so often, but I think what's the hardest part is once you tune in and you kind of figure out what you want, it might look so different than what your friends and family are doing. So what has kind of helped push you, I guess, over the edge in those instances when it is like, oh, this is so different, like people,
Yeah.
You almost get like worked up? Like, is it you just have such an unshakable faith in yourself that you're like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to stay true to myself? Or do you have any like little techniques that you use to kind of push you forward when that comes
Yeah, for me, I would say definitely having faith in myself. And that's definitely not something that just happened overnight. Like I, woke up thinking like, great, I'm going to do this and it's going to be fine. Even now, obviously there's moments where where I doubt myself or just doubt what I'm doing. But I would say definitely having faith in myself has been really big. And I think one thing is I've always, which kind of fits in with your whole rebel soul thing, is I've always been a little bit rebellious. And so if people say that I can't do it, I kind of have this like, no, but I can. So that there's like part of my personality that is tied into that. But I think in terms of just practical techniques as well, I've really been diving into just kind of what makes me mentally and emotionally healthy. And so some tips are, for example, just words of affirmation. And I know that's kind of like, we see this maybe a lot on the internet and social media these days, but it is, like you said, it is still hard to practice and to incorporate this into your daily life. And for me, it's, yeah, things like affirmations, just really positive self-talk, because if I'm lucky I do have friends that support, what I'm doing, but if you're not in that place, it can be really difficult to not have that outside support. And but you know what, you still have yourself, right? You can offer, you have everything that you need. And so, and I firmly believe that for everybody, myself included. And so for me, like the self-talk and the positivity is really important, even when you feel not so positive and you're feeling kind of low. It's helpful to even just have a list that you can just read, so you don't even have to think about it when you're feeling low. So that's been super helpful for me.
Yes, I love that. Like having a list or like a letter to yourself that you're just like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm feeling low right now, but like I know this isn't the real me, and you just take the letter out and it's like from you in a good spot, and you're like, oh yes, okay. And it actually does kind of help shift you out of that sometimes. I mean,
Definitely.
not all the time, right? We are human. We get to feel all the feels, but like sometimes we just need a little kick in our pants to like get us out of that mindset,
Totally.
Thank you. I love that. If you could give younger Carole some advice, what would you say and why?
Definitely again, maybe kind of a cliche, but definitely to stop being so afraid. When I was young, I mean, just part of my personality, again, even now, is I've always been I'm pretty introverted. I'm very emotional. I'm a highly sensitive person. And so growing up without the proper like tools and guidance to navigate that part of me, I always was just very shy, very quiet. Didn't feel like I could or maybe should speak up. And so what I would tell my younger self is, yeah, to stop being afraid and to embrace, everything that is you, because just because you're sensitive or just because you're a little quieter than some other people, that doesn't mean that it's not a good or bad thing. It's just, how you were made. This is just you, and this is just your personality, and there's always good to that. And so, yeah, definitely to just let my younger self be me, and to stop hiding, and to or even strive to be someone that she's not.
Beautiful. Yeah, just like embrace the wholeness of who you are, like all the parts.
Yes.
Wonderful. So what is next for you?
So I am, with, like everyone else, with COVID and everything happening this year, I've definitely been taking a lot of time to just reflect and dive into some new things. And one, as the calligraphy business has kind of slowed down with weddings not being as frequent and as large, obviously, during this time, it's actually been a nice break. And while I really, really miss all the events that I was doing, like especially last year, I had a ton of live events that I absolutely loved. I have taken this year to kind of dive into mental and emotional health a little more. And it's been something that I've been passionate about since my time in writing, where I was kind of taking time for myself, going down, exploring more just a spiritual and holistic view of life. And so this is not a new avenue for me, but definitely have taken time to dig into it a little more. And I have been working on just myself a little more, trying to become emotionally whole and healthy. And these I'm such a big like super big advocate for promoting awareness for these things, because even though self-care has become more of a talked about topic, it is still very taboo in certain cultures and with certain people. And it shouldn't be, because it affects all of us. It's not just something that affects a small percentage of the population. It's actually such a big topic. And I have been toying with the idea of kind of just going into this this realm in a more professional, or just kind of entering into this new industry for me. And I think for me, I'm still not quite sure what it looks like yet, as this idea is just kind of very, very new. But I would love to incorporate my calligraphy, create products like prints, like with the affirmations that we talked about. Just product ideas that can kind of incorporate the creativity side of me, while also incorporating this part of me that's super passionate about promoting and advocating for emotional and mental health. And so, yeah, it's just an idea that I've kind of been toying with. Nothing is set in stone yet, but I would love to pursue that in this next year, and to see where that kind of takes me.
That is so exciting. And I feel like it is so needed, because when we, like, even if you saw like t-shirts or stickers or things with like, the more we get the messages out there, and like to your point, yeah, self-care is kind of talked about, but I think we're still kind of luckily, I feel like the millennials are much more open about going to therapy and doing meditation and taking care of ourselves. But it's like we have to keep pushing it and keep promoting it, so that our younger generations are involved. Even like our the older generations start getting more involved in it. And I've noticed like when I speak out about it, my mom's more into it or my dad's more into it, you know, and it does have a ripple effect. And so I love that you want to incorporate that more into your business because you are so creative. Like you are so talented and so creative, and that's so special to share your creativity and then also have such a positive message and help serve other people. So awesome.
Yeah,
I'm so
definitely.
excited for you.
Thank you.
Amazing. Well, I'm going to tag Carole in here. You guys go check out her work. She is so talented. You have products for sale right now, or?
Yes, I do have some. I have some holiday stuff coming up soon, so just keep an eye out on my social media and on my website as well.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for coming on. It was such a blast to catch up and also interview you and hear a little bit more about your journey.
Thanks so much, Shannon.
All right, everyone, have a great rest of your Sunday.